Okay, today's lesson is going to be on histograms, box, and whiskers. You're going to go ahead and copy all this down. If you don't have the worksheet, that's fine. You can either draw it out or you can wait until you get the worksheet from me. It shouldn't take that long to draw out, so you really should draw it out if you don't have the worksheet. All right, so a histogram basically is just kind of a different way. It's pretty much like a dot plot. The only difference is we're not using dots, we're using bar graphs, right? So this would be a type of histogram where we're using bars. You can also use lines and other sorts like that. So let's see. It says how many. So here's an information. Here's a graph. Let's kind of look at what the graph is doing. It says it has the frequency. So this tells me how many times this certain thing occurred. Now, because the graphs aren't labeled that great, it just says frequency, and there's really no label down here. So we really don't know what's happening 5 times, but whatever is happening 5 times, it only happened once. Okay. The next bar graph says, all right, this is the history of how many times it occurred 10 times. And look how high this thing goes. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I don't know exactly what happened 10 times, but I know that it happened. There was 4 different occurrences of that value being 10. All right. So let's go ahead and start answering this question. It says, how many of these were tens? Well, here's my tens. And we're just going to count up how many times it occurred. It occurred once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. I got that 10. How many of these were 15? Well, here's my 15s. And I'm just going to count up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I got this 15. Again, it would have been really nice if they would have given us a little bit more insight as to well, what does that 15 represent? We don't know. All I know is off of the bar graph or the histogram that I have here, that 15 occurred 5 different times. Now, here's where it does get a little bit tricky because now they said, how many were 15 or 20? Now, when it's or, that actually means that you're getting more options. That means you're actually happy if it's 15 or if it's 20. So I know that of the 15, there's 5 of these guys. Let me go ahead and write that 5 here. And then for the 20, if I were to match up the 20, 2, 3, 4, the 20 actually happened 4 times. So if you're good here and you're good here, then all of these guys would make you happy, right? Those are the 15s and the 20s. If I put them together, that would be a 5 plus 4, which give me, there are 9 different occurrences of either getting a 15 or of getting a 20. For letter D, it says, how many of these were older than 20? Well, all right, well, older than 20. Here's 20. These 20s aren't going to count because these people that are 4, I guess if they're saying older, I guess this is the age of the people taking the survey, right? So if it's older than 20, these guys don't count because these guys are exactly 20. So we're not going to include these guys. We only want the ones that are older than 20. And that would be the one that says more over here. And how many is that? Well, that's only going to be 1. There's only 1 person that took this survey that's older than 20. And then it says how many people actually took the survey. So I know there were 5 people here, and I know there were 4 people here. We just said that there was 1 person over here. For the 10, we said there was 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the 5, there was only 1 person that was 5. So that tells you all the amounts of people. What we're going to do is we're going to add them up. So I'm going to take 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 1 to see how many people actually took the survey. And if I add those up, let's see, that's 5 plus 5, which is 10, plus another 4, 4 and 1, that's going to be 15. All I did was add up all those numbers. And that's it. We're done with the first histogram. Let's take a look at the second histogram. It says create a histogram using the info. I guess these are like test scores for students. It says between 60 and 69%, there were 3 students that scored that high. So the 60 to 69%, that would be this bar right here. Notice that it's a range. And that's okay. We don't know if they scored 60 or if they scored 64, or if they scored 67. We just know they scored somewhere between 60 and 69. And there are 3 students that did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bar that goes up to 3. Now here's 2. This would be 3, and this is 4. 3, I want it like right here. So I need to create a bar from the 60 to 69 that goes like that high. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and create that bar. You want the bar to go like halfway between the 2 and the 4. And this would represent 3 students that scored somewhere between a 60 to 69. So this one is actually done. We're going to put a little check mark there. All right, let's look at the next one. The next one says how many students scored between 70 and 79%. 70 and 79%, that would be this region right here. And I need to make sure that it's 9 students high. So I need to go all the way so that it goes somewhere between the 8 and the 10. So my bar is going to go up this high. So you're going to create your bar starting from the next one. We're going to kind of connect it. But I got to make sure that it only goes halfway between the 8 and the 10. All right, so this bar is done. Notice that this one didn't have anything because I didn't get any students that scored between 50 and 59. It's not in any of these sets. So that's why you don't even put anything. Some people do like to put a line. I don't personally. I just leave it blank. Okay. The next one says how many students score between 80 and 89%. Well, there's my region right there. And it said that it's 12 students. So 12 students going to land exactly on this line. I need to make sure it goes up that high. So let's see, I'm going to go up, 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 up until I reach that 12. All right, and then the last one for 90 to 99%, there's 7 students there. So let's see, here's my 90 to 99%, and I need to get 7 students. 7 students would be like right here. So I need to make sure that my bar starts like right over here. Somewhere between the 8 and the 6. All right, so that takes care of that one. I forgot to put the check marks here. And we are good to go on that one. Hopefully that made sense to you and you're able to do this. If you're having trouble kind of seeing like where those are at, some students do like to kind of like draw little mini dashes. Let's see if I could do this. Sorry, I'm trying to play with my iPad. Oh, there it is. So like especially for that last one, some students do like to do like a small dash line just to make sure they're lining up correctly. And look at that, that was pretty darn close, huh? Just so you can kind of see like, hey, this is working, and then they go back and erase it. Same thing with the previous one. We said it was around 12, so let me just show you that this 12 is in the right spot. That's pretty darn close. And same thing, if I go backwards, like we should be able to hit that 9. And sure enough, it's pretty darn close, okay? All right, so that takes care of that one. We're down to our last one. It says use the information to create a histogram. Make sure to label your X and Y axis. Now, like I said, that first one we did a pretty horrible job of labeling what was going on there, so it did cause a little bit of confusion. So the more accurate you can be with labeling your axes, like what do these numbers mean down here, and what do these numbers mean right here, it's going to make it's going to help the reader out. Like I didn't mean to do that, but it just happened. Like yeah, it kind of was not easy to understand what was going on in that graph. So let's see. It says the number of trips between 4 to 6 days. There were 5 people who took trips between 4 to 6 days. So let's go ahead and start creating a histogram. And I got to change my settings back so I don't get that dash line. So what am I comparing? Well, on the bottom, it looks like I'm going to be comparing the number of days. So let me go ahead and start making a histogram right here. They said to label the axis. So on the bottom, I'm going to go how many days the trip were, right? So number of days on trip. Now, normally students would like to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but that's not the way my data is set up. The way my data is set up is in chunks like this. So 4 to 6 days, 7 to 9 days, 10 to 12 days, 13 to 15 days. It looks like they're going in groups of three. For example, 4 to 6, that's day 4, day 5, day 6, right? 7 to 9, that's day 7, day 8, day 9. So we're doing groups of three. Now, if you're going to take a trip, you're not going to take a 0 day trip. So you would start with 1 to 2 to 3. All right. So my first group is going to be 1 to 3 days. Even though I don't have it, I really should include it. It's just going to be blank. There's nobody who took a 1 to 3 day trip. The next group is going to be 4 to 6 days. The next group is going to be 7 to 9 days. That was a horrible line. Let's see if I can do better on that 9. There we go. The next group is going to be 10 to 12 days. Try to space these out evenly as best as possible, or else your rectangles are going to look kind of weird. The next group is going to be 13 to 15 days. And then the last group is going to be 16 or more days. All right, I set up my x-axis, which is the axis on the bottom, and I was really specific with what this meant, right? So I know if I have something here, then I know that this person spent 44 to 6 days on a trip. It makes it a little bit easier, right? Okay, and so now on the side, we're going to label how many times this occurred. So we're going to say number of people who actually went on these trips. So it might be one person, maybe it was 2 people, or it was 3, 4, 5, and we can go as high as 6, even though I didn't get anyone that had 6 people going on a certain day of trip. All right, so let's go ahead and start creating this. Notice how well these things are labeled. I know how many. I know the bottom means the number of days on the trip, and I know that the side means how many people actually went on that trip. Okay, so the first one said that there was 5 people that went on a 4 to 6 day trip. Here's the 4 to 6 day, and I need to go all the way up to 5. So I need to go that high. Remember, we're doing a histogram, so that means we're going to be doing like rectangles. And my first rectangle needs to go all the way up to 5. Okay, this one's done. The next group of people is 7 to 9 days. We're 4. So here's my 7 to 9, and I need to go up 4 units. So I'm just going to label that for now, and then we'll see if this matches up. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. The next group of people, there were 4 people who went on a 10 to 12 day trip. So it's going to be the same height as the previous one, 10 to 12 days. There were 4 people as well, so it's going to be pretty much the same box. On a 13 to 15 day trip, there were 2 people who went. So here's 13 to 15, and I need to go up 2 units. And then the last one, there was only 1 person who went on a 16 or more day trip. So we're going to go ahead and draw this rectangle going up only 1 unit. All right. Now, especially with this one, because we got like a box that's so high, it's kind of hard to see that there's no box here, right? Like you kind of gonna gets lost in the shuffle. So especially with these ones, you might want to color this in. Different things will either color them all the same or color them differently. I'm gonna go ahead and color them just a little bit different, just so we can kind of see like, oh, there's no box on that first one. You don't have to color them different colors. You could color them the same color. It really does not matter as long as it's kind of easy to see like what you're looking at. So I'm just going to go ahead and randomly pick different colors just so it stands out. Actually, let me go ahead and switch this so it's easier to see what belongs to what. All right. And then finally, at the very end, we do have one more question. It says, where would the median occur? Yeah, so this is kind of weird, right? Because we really can't pick off, um, we have regions, right? So the first, I know that the median is the middle number, except I don't know what these numbers are. I know the number's somewhere between 4 and 6. They're not asking you what the exact number is, they're just asking you where would it occur. So there's a couple of different ways you could do this. I personally would pick like a number in the middle just so that I know where my numbers are coming from. So when I write like for this one, what's in the middle of 4 and 6, I'm going to say that it's 5, right? Um, so I'm just going to pretend every single number is 5, and then at the very end, I'm going to backtrack from it. So my median is the middle number. So I don't know if the first number is 4 to 6. I don't know if the second number is 4 to 6. I know the first few numbers though are always going to come from here. So I'm just going to pretend that they're all fives for now. So this is a first 5, this is another 5, this is another 5, this is another 5, and this is another 5. I have 5 5s to start off my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, technically that's not correct, but it's going to help me kind of figure out what region am I coming from. All right, let's see. My next few numbers. These numbers are going to be somewhere between 7 and 9. I'm just going to pretend it's 8 for now just to make it easier for me. So then I got an 8, another 8, another 8, and another 8. This is helping me create a list so I can find my middle number. All right, the next numbers on my list. Again, I don't know. They're somewhere between 10 and 12. I'm just going to pick the middle number just so I have an idea. This is going to be an 11, an 11, an 11, and an 11. So I got 4 11s here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I got the 13 to 15s. I got one 13. Well, the middle number would be 14, right? So I got a 14 and a 14. I only have two 14s here. And then finally, that last one, it's 16 or more. I'm just going to pick a random number. I'm going to say it's 18. All right. So are these the correct numbers? No. They're, well, probably not. I mean, they might be, but they're probably not, right? Like I should have some 4s, some 6s, some 9s. But I'm just picking a random number from the region just so I know like where the middle should be. All right. Now that I have that, now because I want to find the median, I'm going to go ahead and go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way through. Make sure you do this in pairs. So left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Oh, I got two middle numbers, but it doesn't matter. The two middle numbers are coming from my 8 region, right? So that means my median would be in the middle of the 8 and the 8, which again is going to be the 8. What is that telling me? That's not telling me that my median is 8. It's not, okay? That's telling me that my median is coming from the region of 8. Remember, I was picking off numbers here and I just said, no, let's call these 8, 8, 8, and 8, okay? So that means my median is coming from this region. It said, where would the median occur? It would occur on the region of 7 to 9. So I'm going to write the 7 to 9 day region. I know that I got the number 8, but I don't know if those numbers are actually 8. I just know that the middle number is going to come somewhere from this box. Hopefully that made sense. That's going to be the last question for today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask.